Welcome to Thursday. It is the 17th of June, 2021. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Chugwater Chili. It's almost here. The 35th annual Chugwater Chili Cook-Off is this Saturday, June 19th. It's going to be great fun. Hope you can make it out. Go to chugwaterchiliCookoff.org for more information. Forecast looks the same, upper 80s and lower 90s in Chugwater. Southwest breezes, a few late-day thunderstorms. I'd call it a pretty typical June afternoon and day in Chugwater for the Chugwater Chili Cook-Off. So be prepared for some pretty warm temperatures. Still hot today, better temperatures Friday, warmer Saturday. Then we've got some bigger changes coming. Modest heat relief in all areas by Friday, but there will be many of you listening and watching this podcast that will bake for another day today. But Friday will definitely be more noticeably cooler. Now we're going to see a bigger cooler trend Sunday through Tuesday. In fact, some of the latest data is downright cool for some areas by Monday. We'll show you that. So we are going to see this heat wave basically get stymied and be put away for a while. Some rain and thunderstorm chances coming with the cooler temperatures as well, especially in some of the areas where fire activity has picked up. I think there's some really good chances of rain in some of those areas. I'll show you that. And the long term isn't as hot. Happy to report that as we go through the last days of June into early July, it looks more like, well, average. It looks more like conditions should be, not quite the extreme that we have just gone through this week. And we'll show you why that'll happen. Here is the forecast charts for today with the big high still right on top of the Four Corners region here. And this is going to continue to make areas right here extremely hot. The northern areas yesterday definitely saw relief from the heat, and that will continue today. But for central Wyoming, southern Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, anywhere you see these pink areas, it's still going to be another dirt burner today, another real hot one. We will see temperatures tomorrow drop, but today, these are the forecasted high temperatures. Lots of 100s out here, lots of 90s up here, back into the desert southwest. More moderate, but still very warm temperatures up in those northern areas. This is the thunderstorm chance for tomorrow. We will start to see a little bit more in the way of thunderstorm activity as it begins to cool off a little bit. Nothing widespread, but we are going to need to interject that thunderstorm threat into the forecast now a little bit more with this change in the weather that's coming. These are the predicted areas. Anywhere you see the shade of green, you're going to have a chance for some thunderstorms. The darker green, the chances are going to be a little bit higher. So that thunderstorm risk starts to go up again. Now, as we get into Sunday, notice the high is down here now into northwest Mexico. We've got a trough in Canada pushing into the northern plain states and the northern areas of the United States, changing the entire wind flow in western North America from one that has been dominated by desert air, now more moderate air coming out of western Canada. So you're going to really notice things changing, and it really gets started Sunday night into Monday. Monday in particular, you're going to notice it much, much cooler. By the middle to the end of next week, this is for next Thursday, we've got a low off the coast of Northern California. The high is still here over Mexico, but it's certainly a lot further south. And the winds aloft early next week are coming in from the northwest. So this basically adds up to a much more moderate, much more average, more typical late June weather conditions coming as we go into next week. And here's the chances of rain. And you can see some of these areas right here that really need it, especially in the forest fire activity at the Bighorn Mountains, near the Cody area, areas across northeastern Wyoming that are really, really dry. Well, it does look like along that frontal boundary, there's a really good chance of rain. I think we're getting more and more confident that this area right here is going to get some good chances of rain, and enough to helpfully hope the dryness and help with the fire activity. You can see the gray and the green. There's going to be an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity as well elsewhere. West of the Divide and the Great Basin, it's still slim pickings. These are temperatures relative to average by Monday. Now you're talking 20 degrees to 25 degrees to 30 degrees below average in these areas right here. Now that is basically translates to high temperatures only in the 50s and 60s for Monday in these darker blue areas. So yeah, you could be in these purple blue areas looking at highs Well, only in the 60s and lower 70s. I wouldn't be surprised if some areas are only in the 50s on Monday. So there is help on the way. Cooler air even gets into areas west of the divide as we get into early next week. Now, it's not a long-range trend where it just stays cooler, but basically it's like putting out the flames of this heat wave. So there is some help coming. Many of you still need to get through today's excessive heat before you start to notice things different. Now, this is what I mean by the longer term and not being as excessively hot. This is the average temperatures over the next 10 days. If you add each of the next 10 days up, take the temperatures, the high and the low, average them together, then compare to what the average temperatures are for this time of year, you can see a lot of blue there, and you still see some lighter shades of orange. Those lighter shades of orange are above average temperatures, and the blue is below average. So we do have some cooler weather coming our way. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Have a good Thursday. A lot of you are going to have to suffer through the heat for another day before help is coming, but it is coming. Don't forget to use Chugwater Don at checkout to get 20% off at chugwaterchili.com.